This is my first video log for dissociative identity disorder discussion. That's a mouthful for sure. I should probably introduce myself. My name is Sam, and I am one of 9 personalities living inside of just a normal human being. In the sense that her life hasn't been easy. She has been through a lot. She was abused. She was beaten down by life, but she never gave up. And part of that is because she had us. What dissociative identity disorder is, or dissociative, there are a couple different ways to pronounce it, I guess. Used to be called multiple personality disorder. And it is a diagnosis that is not easy to deal with, not easy to live with. Because there are alter personalities that take over depending on certain situations. Our host, the person whose body we live inside of, hates driving. She hates traffic. She has anxiety, so she does not feel comfortable behind the wheel. I take over that job. I drive the car. I am how we get around. I'm how we get to work. I'm how we get to the store. I'm how we get to doctor's appointments, therapy appointments, although admittedly we haven't done that in a while. But that's because we are functioning. People say that dissociative identity disorder or dissociative identity disorder is a disorder, but for us it's not, because we can function. We have embraced who we are. We are not one single entity. We are multiple personalities. And it's always been like that. We've always been here since she was 8 years old. And it's not easy for her. It's not easy for us. But we function in society. We have a job. we, as much as I don't want to say it, we have a husband because I'm not gay. Not that I have anything against gay people. I just prefer girls. But that's my personality. I'm a guy personality living inside of a woman's body. And that is unusual to say, that is unusual to hear for people that don't understand it, that aren't open-minded to it. In total, there are 9, including the host. I'm gonna try and avoid saying her name for privacy reasons, but some of you might recognize us. I know some of her followers are her friends that know who she is, you know? But I feel like this needs to be said, you know? Mental health is a really big thing in this world and a really big thing in this community, in this area. And it's not easy. Mental health is not easy, no matter who you are. You could be a millionaire rap singer, you still struggle with mental health. You can be a rich philanthropist doctor, you still struggle with your mental health. We all go through moments where life gets hard, where mental health gets hard, and that's human nature. That's the way that the world is. We cannot change that because it will always be there. That is an inevitability of life, is that life will get hard, because nobody said life was easy. Life is never easy. You hear all these motivational speakers, all these mental health gurus that talk about taking care of yourself and learning to live with what life throws at you, even though it gets hard, because it does get hard, because life is hard. My job is to drive the car. My job is also to make sure that she's taken care of, make sure that she's safe, you know? When we first showed up, she was 8 years old and going through a really, really rough time, going through something really hard and something that she couldn't really explain to anybody. She didn't know how. And that's where we came in. And the first of us was Elios. And he's the warrior. He's the protector. He and I are the guardians of our host. We are her physical strength when she's not strong enough, you know? And, He is the trauma bearer. One of them, anyway. I am the comforter, I guess. It's funny, one of the trauma bearers shares the comforter job with me, and I share my protector job with the other trauma bearer. I think we were the first 3 that showed up. We actually have like a written timeline of all the mental fractures that she has gone through in her life that created personalities, you know? One thing about dissociative identity disorder, or D.I.D, is that it's often misdiagnosed or just not diagnosed at all because it's so hard to recognize unless you actually have like an intimate knowledge of the person, because people are multifaceted. We're like gemstones. And when a gemstone is put under enough pressure, it shatters. And that's basically what happened with our host. 8-year-old little mind was put through enough pressure that the psyche fractured and alter personalities came into being. And I cannot even fathom how much pressure that would have to be, you know? How much pain do you have to inflict on a child for their brain to break itself in an attempt to survive? And I know it wasn't easy for her family. I know it wasn't easy for her. I know a lot of it was probably unbearable. I just want to say that if there's anybody out there struggling, needing somebody to talk to, reach out, please. No, we're not a mental health professional. No, we're not a psychologist or a therapist or a doctor or whatever. But we are compassionate. We are trying to find a place in the world. And we want people to talk to that understand. If you feel like you relate in any way, please feel free to reach out. We'll talk more later, I guess.